What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now, Back to the Past. I'm Alex. In this video, we're doing something a little bit different. We're not necessarily going too back in the past for Concord, but I want to talk a little bit about kind of the lead up to this game, it shutting down, and what that has done from the game preservationist route, okay? Obviously, on this channel, as time has gone on, it's become, I think, a bigger and bigger deal, and something I've wanted to emphasize more is that game preservation, right? Games that are terrible that need to get offline modes, right? A game like Redfall or Suicide Squad Kill a Justice League that still doesn't have it, very much going down that game preservationist route, and we lost one, in Concord, and, there could be maybe like 10 people mourning its loss, but ultimately, it is a video game. It is a part of history, and it definitely is, and that's, part of what we're going to talk about in this video. It came out, it went out, I guess, with a bang, and, I would still like it to be around, even if it is a colossal disappointment, a colossal failure, right? I think in terms of that history, in terms of preservation, I would like to see it, in a way, I'd like to see it come back. When they take it down, they talk about maybe not, that they'll rework it, maybe it will come back out eventually. I honestly hope that it does, simply for the angle that the game still exists, if that makes any sense. So I want to kind of talk about, the leading up period and where we're at now, because try to paint a story, right? This game was always doomed. And I mean, it's not the first time we've said that out loud, but really from the get-go, from the jump, when it was first teased a few years ago, right? And we've heard, kind of inside stories of what the game was going to be like, but, they show this trailer that's very, announcement trailer-like, right? There's nothing really special about it. There's nothing really direct about it as to what the game is. Again, then you kind of hear it behind the scenes. And then we got the big reveal earlier this year. And when I say big, look, I mean, I actually remember watching this thing. I watched it live when I think it was the State of Play that they did it. And, they start off with the cinematic trailer that's just, for a game like this, it hurts even more because that this game is a multiplayer, like hero shooter, right? So when you do this cinematic trailer that's character heavy and, it's trying to build like this world, I mean, look, are the worlds of Destiny and things like that, are they known? Yeah, but not every game even nails that part, right? And to know going in what this game was, and then for the first 5 minutes that we're seeing this game, it's all fake. It's literally cinematics, and specifically for this game, it is literally fake. And then we see the gameplay. The gameplay wasn't that impressive. And again, you start to see nobody really cares, right? Likes to dislikes are obviously very bad, but also just, I think anticipation for this game just also wasn't there. Also, I would say evidenced by, as they were leading into, remember, they were going to have 2 different playtest periods, right? One of which was going to be only if you pre-ordered the game, and then the other one was going to be a little bit more open. Well, remember, they actually changed that first one, and they said, okay, we're going to open it up to anybody. So anybody could play really both of these, and they were like back-to-back weekends or maybe every other weekend for a little bit, right? And you could kind of tell right there that, and I had said it too, like, I think if they kept it for just pre-orders, they would have had like 50 people playing the beta. So they couldn't have done it, right? They had to open it up. So again, painting the picture of this game is just not looking popular for either of those play tests. Obviously, the numbers were pretty horrendous. Game comes out. Game doesn't really do anything, and you could argue all day and all night, and we kind of have on different channels here on Podcast Now, the Podcast Now network, I guess, I've argued of what actually went wrong with the game. But look, a lot of things went wrong. Game comes out, it lasts 11 days, so really, in the span of, I would say, 6 months, the game was announced in its full form, because I wouldn't really count the one that we got, a year plus ago as its full form. So we get the announcement, we get a little bit of gameplay, we kind of get some impressions videos on it, and then we get the betas, both open, I guess, and then you get the full game coming out. And so within 6 months, it goes from nobody really cares / there's just bad interest, right? People are, it's either people were negative on it or people just weren't going to get in the first place. And now fast forward to now, and this is what I think is really interesting. Now, again, from the game preservationist angle, there's 2 things I want to talk about, and you can kind of see from the thumbnail, like, Alex, where are you getting like that high money? So what's crazy about it, and I should have, I don't know, should I have bought this game just to kind of like do something like people are doing right now? Because there's 2 different things, one of which is the game itself, right? So the report is that the game just did really bad, right? Especially physically, the numbers, and it was from insiders. Now, there's no way of 100% making sure, fact checking it, but there was one person I remember saying that he estimates that there might have been 300 physical sales of the game across the entire world. Say 300 units, right? That is unbelievable. And you go back to the days of ET, right? Burying it in the freaking desert. How about now? Barely anybody has it. And when you hear that, you think, oh man, is this almost a collector's item at this point? And then when the game starts to shut down, it shut down this past Friday, you saw, at least I did, on social media, I saw people that bought it. And I wonder how much that helps the numbers. I wonder, sales-wise, what the peak, because Wednesday and Thursday, I imagine the game peaked. I imagine people were buying it from Amazon or going and seeing if it was at a local Target or Best Buy or whatever and picking it up, right? I have to imagine that's true, and I have to imagine it probably sold more than 300 units because people were just getting it, I think, as a collector's item. Now, you can go online right now, and I have eBay is one that obviously, everybody knows eBay. Mercari is another, kind of third-party site that I go on quite a bit. That's one that has really helped me in my game my 350 plus games. Quite a few, probably 60 games or so has come from Mercari. That's a really good website. So I went on both of them, and the price for Concord is high. On the lowest end, you're getting this thing for $100. And the game, remember, it's not a full $70 game. It was actually, I believe, $40. So $40 to buy it, and then now because it's offline, now, again, there's the risk reward or the pro con to it. You have it as the collector's item. I guess it joins some of the games even like I have, right? Some games that you can't actually put it, if you put it in your console, right, you can't actually play it. It's not going to read it. It's not going to actually open up the menu for you. We've talked about games where they've killed the multiplayer component, but there are games, The Crew, right? That's a video actually I made when they shut that down, God even knows, a couple months ago, maybe half a year ago. That game is just gone. You can't use The Crew anymore. You can put it in your console, and it literally will not open for you, right? So Concord would join that. Now, the difference is The Crew goes for about $5. $5. That's how much I actually bought it for. So, a game like Concord, lowest end is 100. I saw people, and now are they ever going to actually sell it? I saw people putting it as high as $200 to $250. I saw one, I think, for $225, $230. So it's people are, the range seems to be, I feel like the average is $120 to $140 is kind of what people are selling Concord for. Maybe unopened, right? As if that matters. At the end of the day, the game wasn't really played. If you did open it and play Concord, you played it for at max 11 days. You didn't even play it for 2 weeks. So I don't even know if it loses much value there. But the other part to it that I find kind of interesting is, everybody's freaking out, including myself, on the Astrobot controller. I actually have the Astrobot controller in the flesh. I have a video on Podcast Now Plus of me unboxing it. Love the thing. I platinumed Astrobot on it, all that jazz. People are freaking out on that, and that's reselling right now for $110, right? Astro's controller. Well, Concord, if you didn't know, and I actually kind of remembered and then forgot and then remembered again, Concord has a controller. There's a controller for Concord, and this is where it gets insane. This is where the average is around $300. There's some selling it for $250, $275, but this I've seen on sale for $450, $475. So, the range is $250 to $450 selling the controller. Now, this one, maybe has a little bit more of not even just a collector's thing, but you can actually freaking use it, right? It's a controller. It's a DualSense. And as we know, DualSense controllers are actually, I believe, going up worldwide. So they're about $80 each now. And, it's good to have. It's good to use to obviously play the PlayStation. So, I can see that one a little bit more. But I just find it funny now that if you want the collection, if you want the Concord controller, and then if you're not able to actually play the game, it would be kind of rad to play Concord with your Concord controller. That ship has sailed. But if you wanted the duo, right, the double package, you're spending upwards, no joke, of probably $400 at the minimum, and probably more like $500 or $600 to get both of them. And in a way, I love it. To be honest with you, in a way, I'm embracing it. Look, I'm never gonna do it. You know what I mean? Maybe, but yet again, maybe I will. Maybe in 5-10 years. But the thing is, it shouldn't be that surprising. I remember telling a friend, like, yeah, they're selling Concord and he was saying, like, why would people even do it? And there's a part of me that says, look, the economy worldwide isn't doing so good. You got to make sure you got food on the table and all that stuff. Why are we spending, $600 on Concord-related merch? And I understand that. I get that. But, there's been bad games, like, in the past. There's been bad games that you can still actually play. My go-to always will be Naughty Bear. And I actually don't have it, but I do want to get it. Naughty Bear is a PS3, 360 generation game. It's trapped on that console, or generation. So that makes it, kind of more rare. It is a terrible game, and I will not hear otherwise. I've seen some videos trying to defend that piece of garbage. Naughty Bear is a terrible game. I rented it back in the day. Naughty Bear is bad. I want it. I want it to play it, to replay it, in modern day. And I've seen it, and I think I talked about this, a while ago. I actually saw Naughty Bear in the flesh on 360, and it was the not Game of the Year edition, but whatever like they called it, because obviously it's not Game of the Year quality. It was, I think, $75 physical, and I had kind of like a life crisis moment. I didn't get it, but I really sat there. I was actually standing, and I thought, man, I got to think about this for a second, right? Because it's so bad. You're getting it to potentially replay it, and it's going to be terrible, but I've never seen it before physically in front of my eyes, and especially like that gold edition or whatever it is. I rented like the base edition, right? So I've never seen that before. It's been, a decade plus. It's trapped, it's bad, and it's $75. And it's like, well, what do you do? And ultimately, I didn't do it. One day I probably will, to be honest with you, but I feel like I have a bar, right? Like, I don't know. For me personally, I'm not opposed to collecting bad games. Right now, I'm kind of, for the last 2 years, I've been collecting, again, I have like 350 physical games. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm really trying to go after good games or games that mean something to me. Sometimes bad games can mean something to me, but that's my kind of general focus. Right now, I don't think it would be economically responsible, and also, like, I'm trying to collect all these hundreds of good games or games that mean something. I don't really need to go off course to get a game like Concord for $150 when, number one, you can't even play it, and number two, and number two, it's bad. Even if you could play it, would I actually enjoy it? And the answer is probably no. So, I get why people do it. I'm not really in that situation, but I just find it fascinating. This game, the kind of the title and what I was trying to like paint a picture, in this video, the game went from no interest to also still no interest, but like slightly more, right? Because it went from like, oh, it's this hero shooter, and, a lot of people that just were kind of questioning it and clearly not intending to buy it. Many people, even that gave it the time of day, people that watched the trailer, right, gave it a like or gave it a dislike, 95% of those people, maybe even higher, did not actually buy the game, right? So it went from just nothing to still nothing, but like it almost transformed, it almost like evolved, right? Where it's like now to like a collector or, a game preservationist, like, which I think is also kind of a collector, right? It now is actually kind of worth something because it's just, and I kind of glossed over, the 11-day thing. And again, I've made videos on other channels talking about it. I don't want to, bring the video down with that, but, that's another kind of special thing where it is gaming history. Like having the physical box, I get it, right? Having the box of Concord, you are holding history in your hand of a game that came out. And of all the games that have failed in the gaming industry, how many have failed in the same way that Concord has, right? And very few with the pedigree of like PlayStation, like having PlayStation kind of at its back, right? And just lasting 11 days and they shut the whole thing down. You can't say a Naughty Bear or even like an Evolve. I think I have Evolve. Like I didn't like that game very much, and that game lasted a bit. It's offline now, but like it lasted quite a while. It didn't last 11 days, right? This is a really kind of special thing of history for a game that nobody really cared about, but that's kind of why it's special, right? This game that just never landed for like more than one reason, a variety of reasons, and now has become like this mega, I don't know, like ultimate kind of collector's item, right? Because again, I don't know if it's that expensive. The controller definitely is expensive. The game, I've seen games just as much. I've seen games more, but like, to buy Concord, I could buy like a Budokai game, like a Budokai 2, maybe. I think some of the Budokai games are like Tenkaichi. I think some of them are like $200+. So I don't know if it's exact, but why would I buy Concord when I could buy something like that, instead? But it's special now. It really is. And maybe one day I'll get it. Maybe one day this will be my naughty bear where I tell the story of playing the beta and saying, you know what, let me try. But, it's offline as well. So it's like you have it just to look at. You're not playing it. You can't actually play it. But I do wonder if the game comes back online, those copies would go down in price. You have to imagine, right? Because then maybe they would resell it. You could buy it digitally, so it's not. Right now, it's trapped. Like, you can get it physically, but nothing will play anyway, right? So it's like, if they were to re-put Concord out, that would maybe help the market. Maybe then I would swoop in, get one, and then wait for the game to also shut down, maybe 2 months later the second time, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. Let me know what you think of, like, a video like this. I thought this was kind of be a little bit different, but a little bit fun. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.